Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. So in today's video, we will be talking about a very unusual fall storm. And I say very unusual because it will have characteristics that usually a fall storm at this time of the year doesn't have. And I think this one is pretty comparable to actually what you'd see in a late fall, even maybe during the winter. And I think once I show you it, you will understand why it's such an unusual system. So without further ado, let's start talking about this. I'll be showing you several different models and their different opinions on it, if you will. Yeah, a lot of things that are kind of yet to be sorted out. There's some differences, but overall the message stays the same. A big storm is on its way. Before we get into this, if you guys would like to support this channel, if you're a weather hobbyist, enthusiast, and you're new to this channel, hello, welcome. I talk about the weather, so if you'd like to subscribe and like the video, obviously if you enjoy the content, please do so. And if you have any comments, concerns, or questions, leave them down below. All right, let's start talking about this. Okay, so let me first show you the radar. We already have the system well underway, and it actually is kind of going to be forming a second one, if you will, from this cold front that is originated from a low pressure that is a bit further towards the north. It's already is obviously causing some havoc across Wisconsin, Minnesota, and into portions of Iowa. Notice lots of storms, very heavy rain. Severe threat is there, not off the charts, but definitely something to keep an eye on for. Notice though, again, it's mainly the heavy rain threat. Look at that line of storms, very impressive, and it stretches for thousands or almost 1,000 miles as it starts developing into Missouri and Kansas and potentially northern Oklahoma. So a lot of activity here, and we've had already throughout the day most of these showers ongoing and developing through Michigan, Indiana, and Illinois. Look at that right there into Minnesota, Iowa. Look how that exploded throughout the day. It wasn't like that the whole day. Look at this. The last couple of hours, this was 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. Look at that. Boom, it's exploding, and it will continue to move and progress towards the east. Now, what does this mean? Well, it's obviously a lot of rain for the areas impacted by this cold front, but here's what is very interesting about this system. And let me show you this using the GFS model. So we have that cold front. There you can see it's depicted with that GFS. Very strong. It moves. It weakens overnight. And you may be thinking, okay, so what's so unusual about this storm system? It's just a cold front that has a lot of rain. And yes, it may be powerful, but what's so weird? Look at this. So we start seeing a lot of moisture getting drawn up from the south. We see this cold front pretty much stall out, completely slow down, if not completely come to, again, a stop. You can see that's the movement from 7 a.m. tomorrow to 1 p.m. in the afternoon. Very little movement right there into Indiana, Illinois, and Michigan. It's just kind of stalling out. And look what starts happening. It starts ongoing a low pressure development, if you will. And look, that cold front, it starts giving birth to a low pressure. Look at it right there. And this is where a lot of models disagree. Every single one does show a kind of if you will, a frontogenesis, which is a formation of a low pressure from this, and they all do something, where they curve the system out and develop into a strong system, but at different times. The European, at the same exact time, has this low pressure not across Lake Erie, but across Michigan. So notice, look what happens. Indiana, Ohio see rain, and they continue seeing rain into Wednesday, and now into late Wednesday, into Thursday. And what makes this weird is, look, there's lake effect going on across Illinois. Not snow, but lake effect rain. It is a thing. It's not as common as lake effect snow, but if it does occur, it could have some pretty nasty showers, strong winds, and there's oftentimes hail in some of those lake effect showers. And yes, this system will be bringing very strong winds downwind of Lake Michigan and other lakes, but again, the lake effect is most apparent off of Lake Michigan. So, and what does this mean? Well, again, obviously cooler air overriding warm waters, which at this point are very warm. So that cooler air doesn't have to be much cooler. Probably in the 50s and 60s is enough to create that lake effect. But yes, this system is very strong. And notice, look at that. The GFS decides to center the heavy rain across southern Canada, Detroit, Cleveland. And that really does stick around for quite a few days. Look, into Wednesday, Thursday, it's still there, dragging a cold front into the northeast. And then it kind of moves out. So just from that little system alone, we'll see that there is a lot of precipitation. I shouldn't say little system, it's a big system, but it's little in the vast kind of forecast of 15 days. Look at all those rain amounts, potentially in the thumb of the mitten that you mix up Michigan, if you will. There could be over 6 inches in several spots, and again, I agree with that. I think there will be isolated amounts in the double digits somewhere in here, and yeah, it's quite a bit of rain, and it will be occurring with pretty chilly temperatures. The temperature anomaly based on the GFS is definitely there, and you can see that the daytime highs, especially on Thursday, will be very blustery for many locations where that low pressure is affecting it. But you know, this is just one model, and I wish I could just show you one model that's going to be correct, but at this point there are 3 different scenarios that could occur. One is that this low pressure does something what the GFS shows, develops right there across Ontario, southern Canada, and again affects mainly Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, the Northeast, not so much Wisconsin, Illinois, and areas further westward. Now, there's a scenario that could easily happen that is a Canadian's version of this. So this is another model. Again, there's our cold front. Everything seems the same. It does develop that low pressure, stalls that system out. Everything looks identical. We have that lake effect shower, and everything seems fine. But it's not, because look, the Canadian takes this low pressure, develops it in a similar area, but it shoots it out to the west, and that brings showers and blustery conditions into areas like Illinois, Indiana, Wisconsin, more of Michigan, and it slows the system down and it starts taking it just straight to the north. So what does this mean? Well, more rainfall for areas that are stuck in the cold front of kind of the cold front of this low pressure, even though this low pressure, it's really interesting. Look, it stems from a cold front. It develops its own cold front, and you can see that areas right there will be seeing very heavy rain for a prolonged period of time as this low pressure doesn't move really to the north and east. It just moves straight to the north. And again, that does bring in some pretty nasty temperatures that will be pretty chilly. And if you recall, the 2-meter temperature anomalies, according to the GFS, were more centered across Michigan and the further east, but the Canadian shows it much further towards the west and brings nasty temperatures all the way into, you know, Chicago, Canada, southeastern Wisconsin, Chicago. Canada will be infected, but not necessarily Toronto at that given time, Thursday. So there are some differences, and obviously the precipitation shield, because it moves further towards the west, brings heavier rain amounts a bit further towards the west, but you can still see that probably for the most part the heaviest rain will fall across Indiana, Ohio, and Michigan and northern Kentucky, kind of this really eastern Midwest area. Now, I want to show you one more model, the European. This is a pretty good model, and it doesn't help us really solve any of this. It shows kind of what the Canadian shows, but not quite, and definitely not what the GFS is showing. So there's our cold front. You can see our old low pressure, and new one starts forming. Again, that cold front stops, completely stalls out, continues raining across Indiana and Ohio. Across the next few days, into Tuesday, Wednesday, you may be wondering, you know, when is this going to occur across my location? If you live in Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky, Illinois, especially eastern Illinois, Michigan, Tennessee, this will be occurring for the next 4 or 5 days, non-stop, that rain. So it's not a matter of when it starts, well, I guess today, but once it starts, it'll be there for a while, and that will bring a lot of rain. And look, it develops it in a very similar location that the GFS Canadian does, but it doesn't take that low pressure further towards the north and east. Like the Canadian, it juts it out to the west, and that does bring a lot of activity further into Wisconsin, more of Michigan, more of Indiana, and it slows that cold front down, that secondary cold front, if you will. Look, very heavy rain out of that into Pennsylvania, into the northeast, and finally does, you know, shift off. But my goodness, does it create a reluctant release of its impacts on the United States. And following that, there looks to be some pretty chilly air behind that storm that pivots its way down. And just to show you that, there could be some pretty widespread frosts and freezes behind that. Look at this. So there's our system. It's already moving away, and look, into the weekend, definitely some pretty chilly temperatures. I think this is underdone. I think there could be some temperatures well into the upper 30s from this European ensemble. And look, even if that doesn't come to fruition, a couple days later, another area of cooler air pivots, and look, we have 40s, 30s, and again, frost and freezes possible, especially in the higher elevated areas. But total accumulated precipitation from this system, look at this. Do apologize about that. It does show, again, the heaviest rain amounts across very similar locations, but again, it's an extension into Chicago, potentially more rain if that's, you know, storm system tracks a bit further towards the west, into Milwaukee, into Green Bay, more of the UP. Or if it's further towards the east, more rain potentially across Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, but a bit less towards the northeast, as the system, is kind of more progressive and doesn't stall out as much as when it kind of shifts and goes directly to the north. Regardless of how you put it, many locations will be seeing decent amounts of rain, 3, 4, maybe even some 5-inch amounts isolated. I think there could be amounts that approach 6, 7, maybe even double-digit amounts. So that's the European, and I do want to show you the high-res models because this is what I find the most interesting about the system, which makes it so unusual. Not only does it, again, have a characteristic of what a winter storm would have, and just to let you know, we've had many of these type systems last year, and they did this. They kind of developed on the edge of this trough, and then they kind of shot up to the north. And the blizzard or the snow, whenever it does occur, is always on this side. And if this was a bit colder, I would say if this was even a month later into October, you would probably be seeing snow out of this into Indiana and Michigan and into portions of Illinois, as this thing would be just, probably producing blizzard conditions across much of the Midwest with this thing. So, again, it's just that it's not cold enough for this type of activity to occur in terms of that that snowfall. So, I want to show you her model. This is a high-res model, and it goes out relatively far every 6 hours, and I want to focus on the north central US. So there's our cold front, right? There's our timing, 7 p.m. September 20th, so that's today, 10, 11, 12. What I want to focus on is look what happens. So whichever scenario does occur, it looks as if the lake effect will occur either way. And look, we start seeing these showers, especially late Tuesday, start to occur off the downwind of Lake Michigan. Look at that. There could be some little thunderstorms developing off the lake, and I wouldn't say it's much of a concern, but potentially, if they occur across the same area for several hours, that could lead to some flooding. But definitely a unique trait of this storm, and I think that her model is honestly a bit underestimating some of this, and it takes the system a bit earlier, it takes it out a bit faster than I think it will actually. I think the NAM 3 cam has a better handle of it. Look, so there's our cold front, right? Stalls out, lots of rain across Michigan, Indiana, Ohio, and look at that lake effect right there. That is actually pretty impressive. And again, the National Weather Service is saying that there will be lake effect. It's not just like this model glitch or whatnot. You can see that those winds are directly angled, perfect for that lake effect. And lake effect rain will be on its way for much of Illinois and the coast of Wisconsin. So it's definitely interesting to see that, and you can see that's the NAM 3KM develops that system across Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, just rain for hours we see that rain starting from, again, really tomorrow, and that continues all the way into really as far as this model goes out to, and the rainfall amounts from that scenario would be obviously very, very significant, 2, 3, 4 inches, and where that lake effect does occur, probably some enhanced amounts as well into potentially 1 to 3 inch range of rain. So a lot of things to watch for the storm. Here's the RGEM model. This is a high-res Canadian. It's a model that kind of shows this system. You can see there's our cold front, right? Boom, it blasts through, and now again, here's the time. This is a bit zoomed out or zoomed in. Let me zoom out so you can see the time. This is tomorrow, 12, 5, 6, 7, again impacting lots of Indiana, Ohio, Michigan, Kentucky, Tennessee, Southern Illinois, Arkansas, Missouri, all those locations. And look, it starts slowing down. We have that lake effect going on most of the night into late Tuesday into early Wednesday. And look, as soon as this thing may seem like it's moving away, the RGEM again starts developing that low pressure, lots more rain coming into Michigan, Ohio, and look, we start seeing that pivot almost into Illinois, Indiana, Wisconsin, which would make a huge difference for many people. As what the GFS shows, that would mean a nice day for the Chicago area, but something like the RGEM would mean a blustery and windy and cold day for many of these locations. So if we click on our 84, show you the total accumulated precip, you could see it's quite a bit, obviously, especially across Indiana, Ohio, and Michigan, and into southern Canada. And if you're to take a glance at the northeast, again, very heavy rain amounts. It's concerning where these little stripes of purple and red up here with that kind of cold front from this storm. There could be, again, also significant amounts of rain over areas that don't really need that much more rainfall. And yes, the temperatures will be rather chilly on Thursday for many. Let me just show you. Yeah, 50s, maybe in many locations not even getting out of the 50s, maybe in some 40s for a few locations further to the north. And Friday looks like a better day, but yeah, Thursday night definitely chilly. So yeah, that's basically it. That's all I have for you today. A lot of stuff to cover, but I just wanted to do this in a timely manner and show you the different scenarios, show you the different possibilities, regardless of how you put it. Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky, even Tennessee, Eastern Illinois, especially Eastern Wisconsin and the UP, and Southern Canada, Pennsylvania, New York, West Virginia, Northern Virginia, Maryland, New Jersey. All those locations will be seeing very heavy rainfall for the next several days, and if not, you'll be seeing gloomy kind of breaks in between the rain, and the heaviest rain amounts will be focused across Michigan, Indiana, and Ohio, kind of where they all border. So prepare for some rain. There are some locations that need it. There are some that don't. Either way you put it, Mother Nature doesn't really care. So it's the best to prepare for quite a bit of water coming your way. And these storms, by the way, the severe weather threat with this system is really going to be just today. Once this kind of passes into tonight, it should be gone, and it's mainly just that rain and wind threat. And yeah, but they're definitely impressive. Look at these storms. They're definitely they're racing towards the east, and these could also produce quite a bit of rain themselves. All right, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you all on the next episode. See ya.